Hello everybody and welcome back once again to another video about stuff. PvP boons. You know, those boons that nobody really paid attention to, nobody really cared about, and nobody really bothered getting because they were a waste of time because either this person didn't PvP anyway, or PvP was just so not good that they didn't even want to bother. So those PvP boons, those are getting an update in mod 17. Now this is something that is not yet even on the preview server. I only know about this because of a forum post that one of the devs made a little while ago explaining what the changes are potentially going to be right now. And he also hinted that the PvP campaign is also going to be seeing some changes as well. However, we don't yet know what those are, so in this video I'm just going to be focusing on the boons. The PvP boons. So before I actually say what they are, the main idea behind this change was to create options that could potentially create new strategic playstyles for PvP players and counters to certain builds, but at the same time those counters could be countered by other players. You know, that whole FPS thing, you know, where you're trying to counter the enemy and the enemy's trying to counter you, and yeah, okay. But at the same time, it's supposed to be so that a player cannot counter all of the opponent's boons, so you just sort of have to be more strategic. That's the general plan according to the dev. So, that being said, let's talk about what the actual boons are. So they're going to have tiers similar to, you know, our regular boon sheet that we got in mod 16. There's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And all these boons are only active while you're flagged for PvP, so don't be alarmed whenever you see them and go, oh my god, this is going to unbalance everything! Because it's only in PvP, and they know that it's going to unbalance the gameplay in that sense, and so there's that. So tier 1 boons, you have 3 points to spend, and these ones increase your stats by flat numbers. So the options are power, hit points, armor penetration, defense, critical strike, and critical avoidance. And for all the stat ones, it goes 3,000, 5,000, 6,000 for, you know, if you put 2 points in, you get the second, 5,000. 3 points in will give you the full 6,000, and then hit points is 12,000, 20,000, and 24,000. And as you might notice, the gap between tier 1 and tier 2 is twice as large as the gap between tier 2 and tier 3 of the same boon. So what I think is going to happen is that people are either going to just put 1 point in 3 different boons, or 2 points in one and 1 in the other one. So that's tier 1. I know I used tiers to describe 2 different things so far in this video, and I apologize, but boon tiers, and then there's like tiers of boons. I don't know how else to say that. I guess like the number of points you put in a boon. I don't know. Anyway, tier 2 boons, you have 2 points to spend, and these ones increase your secondary, I don't want to say stats, but like secondary attributes, I guess. AP gain, action point gain, control resistance, stamina gain, and recharge speed. So, like, you can tell those are not stats, but those are attributes of your character that can be modified here. So, AP gain and control resistance are 6% for 1 point, 10% for 2 points, and then stamina gain and recharge speed are 3% and 5% respectively. So that's tier 2, and then tier 3 boons are ones that are supposed to be the most interesting. There are 3 of them, and you can only choose one. So the first one is called Role Reversal, where you gain 5% increased damage if you are a tank or a healer role, and 5% reduced incoming damage as a DPS role. And remember that this goes by the actual role that you are with your Paragon, and not the class that you are. So if you are a fighter, for example, and you choose the Dreadnought Paragon, you will get the reduced incoming damage, but if you are the Vanguard Paragon, you'll get the increased damage, right? Now, the second boon is called Deep Wound, and this one reduces the enemy's incoming healing by 15% for 5 seconds if you critically strike an opponent. Now, with the nerf to healing in PvP that's already incoming, I think I read that somewhere, I'm not sure how useful that's actually going to be, reducing the incoming healing by another 15% on top of what it's already being reduced by just in general for PvP. But I mean, then again, I don't PvP very much, so, you know, my opinion on this is basically just like a grain of salt. I'm basically just trying to tell you what's going on. And then lastly, the third boon is called Adrenaline Rush, and this grants you 15% additional movement speed for 5 seconds whenever you deflect an incoming attack. So basically, if you deflect something, you go zoom zoom. Okay, so those are the boons that are going to be existing Potentially. Like I said, they're not on the preview server right now. That is just what they plan on implementing. However, it's open to feedback before they're live. So if you have any feedback about this, please go to the forum thread linked in the description and leave some feedback, because feedback is good and you should do that. I'm also curious about how the PvP campaign is going to change as well. He didn't say any of the changes that are going to be happening to the campaign, but I'm assuming, usually it's bad to assume things, but I'm assuming here that there are going to be changes of some sort just because of how it was worded here. While I won't be discussing much about the campaign itself in this thread, I did want to start a conversation on the new boons. So that says to me that there is going to be some changes on the PvP campaign, but it's just not the focus of this thread. So I guess we will see in the future about the PvP campaign, because this is just the PvP boons. Okay, well, that's really all I have for you today. Let me know in the comments what you think about these boons, if you're going to use them, if you plan on PvPing at all in Mod 17, if the changes to these boons will make you actually want to do the PvP campaign, or if you don't want to tell me about any of that, just tell me what you had for dinner. And send me some watermelon sorbet, please. It's the best food in Neverwinter, and I need to hoard it. Okay, thanks. Alright, thank you guys for watching or listening or whatever. Make sure to like the video if you liked, and subscribe if you want to. That would be cool. As always, I will see you guys next week. I mean, I'm sure I will see you next week, but I meant to say next time, but I was thinking about what I'm going to do next week, so I said next week. Okay. Goodbye.